Hi, so this is going to be part one of my Back to Europe series, and I went traveling on my own for about 3 weeks. Visited 4 different countries, started in Portugal, then went back to visit Spain, Austria, and Germany. And so I'm just going to show you some bits and pieces of my trip, and I hope you enjoy. So what I've been showing you here is the hostel that I was staying at in a little town in Portugal called Hellooo. I'm not exactly sure how you say it because I don't have a Portuguese accent, but it was a super clean hostel. This is actually the first time that I ever stayed in a hostel, and I found it on Airbnb. But it was absolutely amazing, so beautiful, and I met an amazing Spanish girl there. So here I'm just showing you around the hostel, and next we are in kind of the main market of this small little town. Oh my gosh, it was just so nice ending up in Portugal and Spain in like 20-degree weather after kind of the crappy winter that we've been having back home. But yeah, I just wandered around and I got a little lost in the town. Always fun to do on your first day in a new place. I'm in this super small little town. This is cool. So my first lunch on my own out in Hellooo, I went to the sweetest little restaurant, and yeah, the chef was super accommodating and made this sweet potato mushroom dish for me. Here I was just exploring one of the castles in the town, and they had some Roman ruins that were underneath, as you can see through the floor there. And then it was a really beautiful day, and you could walk around the top of the castle and get some amazing views of the city. So that's what I was doing here. So my Spanish friend that I met at the hostel and I took a trip to a beautiful beach town called Villamora, and it's quite a touristy place, but we walked along the beach and it was absolutely beautiful. The water was just, as you can see, clearly beautiful turquoise. And yeah, so we had a wonderful day visiting this town. I actually got my 5th tattoo, kind of spontaneously, but in this town, Villamora here, and we stopped in for Indian food because Indian is really easy to make, vegan and gluten-free. I think I had like an aloo gobi. And yeah, so this is just kind of the pier of the town. And I ended my last day in Portugal with my friend at a little vegan restaurant that was actually in the super small town. I was so surprised that they had one. But yeah, she was an amazing sport and tried it with me, and it was a great like beet and quinoa burger. I obviously had it without the bun because gluten. But yeah, it was such a sweet little town, and I didn't have very many days in Portugal, but this was just wandering around in Faro or Fado, I'm not sure exactly how you say it, but also this is kind of like a more well-known town. And I took a bus to Spain, and yes, of course, driving through the beautiful olive fields, and it was a beautiful trip. So this is actually Spain's, possibly Europe's, but I know Spain's for sure, largest nativity museum. And this is only a very small portion of it, but this entire museum is dedicated to different variations of the nativity. And yeah, one thing that's really interesting about Spanish culture is they care a lot about their nativity at Christmas time and everything, but I know a lot of Spanish families set up nativity in their home, and so this museum is showcasing a whole bunch of different artists' takes and variations of it, and just the amount of detail that went into these nativities was absolutely incredible. And I believe this one was set up around, I think it might be the town or the city of Granada. Yeah, and then we just went to a little market, which I always love to see all of the fruit and produce that is available. As you can see, buckets of olives, and yeah, there's just so much, obviously lots of clothes and all that. And here I was singing in the car to ABBA while we were on a road trip to Cadiz. So here we were crossing the bridge into Cadiz, and I'm showing you around the hotel that we stayed in. It was absolutely beautiful, and yeah, I was staying with kind of my old bosses slash old host family. Yeah, and so the room was kind of split up, and it was just absolutely beautiful. And then it had beautiful rooftop terrace with a swimming pool, and you can see the big cathedral or mosque in the back. And it was so beautiful, like 25 degrees Celsius the entire time we were there. And yeah, you could see the ocean from the balcony and also from our bedroom window. And Cadiz was such a beautiful, beautiful city. Had amazing food there, lots of incredible artichokes and potatoes. Everywhere was actually super accommodating for vegan food, and also surprisingly gluten-free stuff as well. Yeah, I definitely didn't go hungry, and this was just a beautiful hotel. And then kind of in one of the main squares in Cadiz here. This was my first time ever being in the city, and thank you so much to Jimmy and Stacy for taking me on this trip with them. Yeah, it was definitely a highlight of the entire Europe trip. Yeah, and so that's also a cathedral there, and as always, the beautiful water, and yeah, it was just so gorgeous. I loved every minute of Cadiz, and I would definitely go back and explore more. And let's just take a moment to appreciate this absolutely gorgeous sunset and walking along the pier to see it. Yeah, we had a beautiful next day, and then I found one of the most incredible vegan restaurants possibly that I've ever been to in Europe, actually, called La Veganesa, and it was such a cute little restaurant. I had incredible food. They actually make traditional Spanish dishes vegan, and so I had, for the first time ever, a Spanish tortilla, which is normally a lot of egg and potato, as you see here, but it was not with egg. And then I had a lentil lasagna type of dish, and their food was absolutely incredible. Then we also went to visit a Roman amphitheater, and so here we were under the tunnel where people would walk through to get to the actual stadium and seating part of the theater. And so here we are kind of coming out from that tunnel and yeah, taking a tour of where people used to sit and watch shows. And back in Antequera, my friend Jimmy and I decided to go on a walk. It was a beautiful little hike, and yeah, super incredible views. And yeah, we actually found this tunnel. Actually, I think Jimmy's been in it before. Anyways, funny little story. We walked through this tunnel the entire way. and got to the very end of it, and then turned around to come back out and get Jimmy's metal detector. We were gonna go hunting for treasure. Anyways, but on the way out, actually realized that there were bats in the cave, and for the first time in my life, I have discovered that I have a slight fear of bats, and I'm pretty sure I've been in a cave with bats before, but yeah, you'll see them here at the end after we've traveled through the cave. But I definitely did not go back in the cave. I don't know enough about bats. Maybe they're totally harmless, but I didn't really want to push my luck. And so yeah, it was a very interesting tunnel exploration, but a beautiful hike, and yeah, it was a super wonderful day. So at the end of the hike, or top of the hill, is this old tower from the Moorish times, this watchtower. And then if you watched any of my old videos when I was in Spain, this used to be kind of like my daily walk through the olive grove, and yeah, I used to take walks here all the time, so it was a lovely and nostalgic little stroll for me on my last night. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I filmed this walk a few times in my older videos, so go check those out if you would like. But yeah, it was so beautiful and warm, and I really tried to get a start on my tan while I was there. And then the next day, I took off on one of the high-speed trains from the south of Spain up to Madrid, where, yes, drumroll, I actually did spend time visiting with my old host family that I used to au pair for. Yeah, my time was actually lovely, and I got to meet my host mom's new baby, and of course play with my old host baby, and this was a little bit of our time. Quack, quack. What is that? What is that? Ducky? Do you have a ducky? Ducky, ducky, ducky. Another fish.
A little
Turtle. Dragonfly. What is that one? Box? No? Bag? What is it?
brick.
A brick. Ah, for building. A brick for building. Ooh. Alex? Where are you going? So thank you guys so much for watching. Please come and rate and subscribe and follow up with part 2 of my Europe travel series. Bye!